My name is Matt Whelchel. I was born in Las Vegas in America. That's my hometown. But I lived in California for about 8 years before I moved to Osaka. I have lived in Japan for about 6.5 years. My job in Japan is I'm a pastor at a Christian church in the Umeda area. Big part of my job is having a church service each week. So I am teaching from the Bible. We have a lot of people that come, Japanese people, foreigners, just to study the Bible together. And then the church really exists to try to help the community as well. And so we do a lot of things like eikaiwa classes and different small groups that meet in groups from others and things like that, just to try to help out the community. I came to Japan to start Christian churches. I had heard that in Japan there aren't very many Christian churches. Less than 1% of people know about Christianity or what Jesus teaches. I feel like the information that I had learned had really changed my life, and I had seen it change a lot of people's lives. And I wanted to try to bring that to Japan to see how that would go. So we already had a church in Nagoya. I came to help out the Osaka church, and since then we've started a church in Kyoto, in Kobe, and Tokyo, and this next year will be Sendai. I became a Christian when I was very young. My father was a pastor. At first I was not quite sure about what Christians believe or why they believe what they believe, but I was led to just study the Bible and to try to figure out for myself what it is that Jesus said and how it applies to me and how it applies to the world. And I ended up through a lot of investigation deciding that that is true. So after that I became a Christian and started doing Christian work after college. I think there is a lot of differences between America and Japan. I think that like some of the people you've interviewed have talked about how Japan is more kind of a group culture and America is more individualistic. I agree with that. I think that's true. I think it was difficult for me to learn that I can't like customize everything for myself. Like if I want a cheeseburger with pickles on the side, it's much more difficult in Japan than in America. But you might wonder, why am I eating a cheeseburger in Japan? But yeah, those kinds of things are different. And I think culturally, the way that people interact is very different. I think that friendships in Japan are very secure and very long-lasting. Or in America, friends kind of come and go and different relationships change. But I've noticed in Japan that people are still in contact with their friends from elementary school or junior high, and they're in their 40s and they still go hang out. I think that's wonderful about Japan. So when I first came to Japan, I wasn't a lead pastor of a church. I was like an assistant pastor, and my main role was to do music. So I play the guitar and sing, and our church, we'd have like a band with acoustic guitar, electric guitar, and drums and bass and keyboard, and sometimes a choir, or my job was to coordinate all of that and work on translating. We would do bilingual worship, bilingual singing and bilingual teaching, learning all about that, arranging music and writing music for that was my job. I started playing guitar and singing I got a guitar for Christmas when I was maybe 12 years old, and I started guitar lessons, and it was a good way for me to practice discipline and learning music. I really loved it, and I really loved how singing brings people together, music brings people together. I just really fell in love with that. About 6.5 years ago, my wife and I moved from California here, and we started the process about 3 years ago of adopting a little girl here in Osaka. And we had no idea that some countries say that Japan has a humanitarian crisis with how many orphans there are and how they're being treated and how they're being cared for. The last statistics are that there is 39,000 orphans in Japan. In Osaka, there's 8,000 orphans, and only about 14% of them will be able to find a home because of a variety of reasons. But we really became passionate about that cause, and we really believe that the best solution for a child is to be raised by parents or a parent, and not to spend their entire childhood in an institution. We feel like that love and care and nurturing is really, really important. So we kind of learned a lot through that process. It was very, very interesting. About December of 2 years ago, we received Nozomi Peace. We got her when she was 3 days old, and she was about this big, just little itty bitty. Now she's a year and 7 months, and she is beautiful and very, very active and very, very genki, and just really, really wonderful to be around. The most difficult thing about living in Japan for me has been learning Japanese. The Japanese language has been really difficult for me. I think I started learning when I was kind of old, and it was very difficult. But I'm really thankful for Osaka. I think one of the best parts about Japan, specifically Osaka, is just how friendly and kind Japanese people have been to me. And everybody has been very, very helpful and have been very, very accommodating as I have tried to go to the ward office and fill out paperwork. There's always someone to help, and it's really been a blessing. So my future goal in Japan is to have, we want to continue to start new churches, and we want to have the 12 churches in the 12 largest urban areas in Japan. And so we're working hard towards that goal. We'd love to finish that by 2025. That's one of our goals. The other goal is just to raise awareness about adoption. I think that the adoption process would be better if more people in Japan really knew what was going on. I don't think people really know. And so I would love to be able to do whatever I can to raise awareness and to try to provide support to mothers, to children, and to these facilities to try to figure out how we can really help to ease this issue with children in Japan. I feel like Japan has a very ambitious trajectory for the future. And I think that the success of Japan is really in the children of Japan. And I think we really need to learn how can we care for these children to really help accomplish these goals that Japan has for its future. I think it's really important, and that's one of our biggest goals. I really recommend coming to Japan. It's a beautiful place with beautiful people and fantastic food. You really have to come. I would recommend that you practice your Japanese and start getting a handle on some of those basics, and that's really going to be helpful when you get here. Also, I think that a lot of people warn me that it's going to be very difficult to make friends when you come to Japan, but that hasn't been the case at all. Don't worry about that. Everyone here is very friendly. I think you'll have a wonderful time in Japan, so come. If you would like to check out what we do at our church, you're more than welcome to check our website. You can link below. We have bilingual services every Sunday, and we have those in person at our building in Nakatsu. We also have them live streaming online. You can check that out. But thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.